Hello, welcome to another session of San Francisco by Night, Hunter the Vigil. Tonight we turn our attention to a Nathaniel Banks, currently doing quite well after his massacre at the raid, where he showed off some rather unique talents of his. Today he simply sits and waits and studies and does whatever. I turn the scene over to Mr. Banks' humble abode. Mr. Banks, tell the audience what he is doing right now.
Well, you would think that dying might change someone's routine, but when it comes to Nathan, he didn't have much of a routine in the first place. Without his implants, he doesn't have the same connection to the computer network. In fact, he doesn't really have a connection at all. But while that connection is gone, he has been given something else entirely. He has discovered, in one way or another, that he can hear, speak to, see, and be seen by just about any ghost that happens to be around. They're not all helpful, and they're not all kind, but it can be rather interesting when instead of asking a computer a question, he simply asks someone who happened to be standing by or close by a question, and getting often quite the same answers. For today, though, it's research into a different topic. He's been trying to learn more about a very specific ghost. He's been trying to learn about the soldier, this entity.
Well, as you continue to research and look things up, you can't find much on the soldier other than rumors and stories and kind of occult things that are talked about. Sometimes the wounded soldier, sometimes the sad soldier that follows people around, but other than that, you're not really finding a whole lot on the supposed soldier. As for the instance of your untimely demise, you're trying to piece together what happened. And after a while of researching, you start to get some flashes and some hints at the more research you do. One thing that strikes you as curious is you remember the symbol. It was an odd symbol on one of the people around you during the operation. It's an odd symbol. You've never really seen it before, but one of the people had it. It's a V with a small entanglement of somewhat of a vines and whatnot. You've never seen this symbol before, and you can't seem to find it anywhere on any local sites. Would you roll me a resolve composure roll, please? Tell me how many hits you get.
So, and oh, right, it's an attribute roll. I forgot. Normal. Add 9 again due to some stiff. Wait, what are you doing? Sheet roll. There we are. Whoops. I'm still full of wounds. That's funny. All right, let me just add 3 more to that. Oh, 1 success is 1 success.
All right. You remember a face. You don't know who this woman is, but it unnerved you when she was looking at you. She had brown eyes, long, almost crimson, maybe a black or a very, very dark red hair. And she stood over you and smiled and patted the shoulder of one of the operators and left. However, just recently, your companions described an event that was coming up, a masquerade ball that they were going to try and infiltrate because they feel that one of the members may have done something bad to their companions. And the description they gave you of the woman who was causing this problem matches that description pretty well.
Well, I suppose he's trying to put together a plan on what to do about this.
Supposedly, the ball will be happening in a couple weeks' time. In other words, after all the character development sessions are over. It's a bit of an odd feeling coming over you, and then you hear a little knock at your door.
Well, oddly enough, or at least he would think it's odd, for someone who has died, his life hasn't changed much. His normal day to day is pretty much the same. So having a knock on the door isn't that out of the ordinary. Someone dropping off mail, someone well, mostly mail, I guess. I guess the point being he would go and see who it is.
All right. There is no one at the door.
Well, I guess
Just the rain.
he's going to open the door just a little bit just to see what's there. Maybe someone left a package or something.
There is no package and no envelope. There is just a small little hand stitched, it looks like, classic bean doll. If you've ever seen them, they're like the ones with the classic black button eyes and just the X's where the mouth is. It's a very old fashioned looking Stitch voodoo doll almost.
Well, he has been having long conversations with his Geist, and his occult dots have gone up considerably. But a doll? That's a bit out of the ordinary. Anything he may have noticed about said doll?
It's very well nice hand stitched black with two somewhat tan button eyes and red X mouth. Um, what can you see in the supernatural?
If it's anything in Twilight that has to do with ghosts, he can see it. Unfortunately, it's not something he can turn off.
There is indeed something inside this doll. It looks like a spirit, but it's difficult to discern. You can see it. There's something in the doll, but it's just off.
This is an anchor.
Yeah, so to speak.
Well, an anchor or a memento, one or the other. It would be very odd for someone to just leave a memento laying around, though. Well, he's going to open the door a little bit more. And he's going to have a look around. Did someone leave this here?
I'm not entirely sure.
Is there any plasm around?
That's actually a good question. I have to think about that for a moment.
If a ghost left this here, there would be, because reaching
I know.
across.
I'm thinking. No, there would be no plasm.
All right, so someone physically just left it here. Well, he's going to pick it up then. He doesn't see much harm in most ghosts.
There does definitely appear to be something in there.
So he's just going to talk. Why are you hiding?
At first, there's no response. It's just you, the rain, and very gentle breeze. But then it comes as a whisper. Something so barely audible you can't even quite pick it up. And then you start to hear more. Hiding.
Yes, hiding in this little doll of yours. Is this doll yours?
No.
Do you know who left the doll here?
Bad ones.
Nathan is going to start looking the doll over from a more supernatural bent.
Mm-hmm.
If he hasn't noticed anything already. It's kind of odd.
Nothing out of the ordinary you haven't seen before. It seems to be some kind of spirit.
Well, he's not so interested in the ghost as he is interested in the doll. He's trying to figure out
There's
if it's cursed or something like that.
You're getting the vibes that yes, it's cursed. The material that it was used to make out of is just high quality fabric. Nothing out of the ordinary there. There is a small amount of soot that comes off of it onto your hands, but other than that, there's not much else about it.
Sorry about that. I was interrupted. So you were saying it was some kind of curse.
Oh, it looks like it's some kind of curse, perhaps. And there is a little bit of soot that comes off onto your hand from the black fabric. But other than that, it's just high quality cloth fabric. There doesn't appear to be much else about it.
This is probably a terrible idea, but we haven't done anything interesting without terrible ideas. If Nathan is holding an anchor, he will use the haunt of the Memoria.
Describe to me what this does.
Memoria is a very interesting haunt in that it requires that the Sin Eater, either possess an anchor of a ghost, or they are at a location where a ghost died. The Memoria has the specific ability to show the Sin Eater either a very important decision that led up to that ghost dying, or simply how the ghost died.
Okay, this will be an interesting one.
It is
You will
a very
see,
odd haunt.
yeah, you will see a man, brown hair, brown eyes, very average-looking white male, Caucasian, standing in a room, backing up. He appears to be afraid of something that you can't see in the vision. And he gets hit by something. Something in the neck, something small. Maybe a dart, maybe a needle. You can't tell. And then before your very eyes, he transforms into this very doll. That is the vision.
So, to give the Memoria context, um, Memoria is the process by which one of the bound crawls deep into a mystery, experiencing it firsthand. They might witness a coal mine collapse as it happened 20 years ago, or the tense family Thanksgiving that marked the last time a local crime lord's son was ever seen. Any memory of death, or the event that led to a death, can leave stains in twilight. As long as the Sin Eater can enter a place where the memory still lurks, they can coax it back to life. At the most basic level, this allows the bound to experience it firsthand from the perspective of the dead. Synergy Memoria. Oh, actually, that may not work. He needs to know 3 things about the death: the name of the dead, the date, the time of the event, or the killer's identity, a specific murder weapon, etc.
Either way, you'll see that, and it's just odd and blurry and just off, and it makes no sense because technically the being didn't die, so the haunt doesn't quite work.
Not sure how you could turn a ghost into their own anchor for that moment.
It
Oh,
is an odd conundrum.
unless, of course, they turn the body into the doll, in which case they become the remains, in which case the ghost is attached to its own remains. Ghost doesn't sound like a man, though. Sounds like a scared little girl or something. I'm going to assume there wasn't much to the memory then.
Nope, not at all. It was all hazy, fuzzy, and barely even audible.
Number of charges determined by placed upon suspended charge from the effects. Learn something from the memory that could be used as soft leverage in a social maneuver. Gain the 8 again in regards to investigation.
Either way, no worries.
Well, the only major effect I would pull from that would be an 8 again on an investigation roll.
Yeah. So if you ever investigate something like this or relating to this, get an 8 again on it.
So this is an anchor. It is not a I can't remember the name of it now. That's weird.
It's all right.
Memento, right. Well, I guess I'll ask the obvious then. What do you want from me exactly?
Hiding.
This isn't yours, is it?
No.
You don't need to hide in there.
There's a very long, drawn out pause. And eventually, the spirit of the man, the ghost, comes out of the doll. He stands before you, kind of looking around nervously. A very strange astral projection of himself.
That is very strange. I don't think I've seen or met a ghost whose remains were turned into something like this.
I don't know anything. I just want to go. You see the man start to have wisps of himself go back into the doll. He's like, no, no! And he just gets sucked back into the doll.
You're not going to be able to move on if you're this scared of everything.
Can't leave. I can't leave.
Then what holds you here?
I don't know. Curse. Woman of blood and red.
So that's who I saw. That's who did this to you.
Yes.
Well, he's going to take the doll. He's going to put it in his pocket or something like that. When I find her, I'll make her undo the curse.
Thank you. As the rain falls down, you look over to your right and you can see an operating table. Many scientists and medical workers operating on someone that you can't see due to them huddled around. You hear a cracking of bone and tissue, and then those figures and the bench fade away, and it's just the rainy night.
I'm sorry, what was that? Then I was interrupted again.
You see an operating table with a lot of surgeons and scientists all huddled around it. You can't see who's on the table. You hear a cracking of bone and the cutting of flesh. It almost seems like you can feel what the person is going through, even though you can't see them on the table. and the vision fades, and there's just you, the night, and the rain.
I'm under the impression someone is making fun of me.
You hear the soldier chuckle a bit, and then you see him shrug.
If that blood woman is going around cursing people, that only gives me another reason to see her dealt with.
So it would seem. Excellent questions to be asked and more to answer. Although now you have some leads, as into a possible connection to you and a connection to others that you know as well. After all, when you returned after your little incident to Section 9, no one there knew what happened. Mr. X himself is none the wiser as to what has actually happened to you. It'll be interesting to talk to some of your teammates about what has transpired here, especially after what you witnessed. After all, that was the first time you ever seen a man transform into an 8-foot tall monster of I guess, a wolf. But it's not the strangest thing you've seen, I guess.
All he has to do is close his eyes, think about the underworld. He has seen many things.
Indeed, he has. Nothing really much bothers you much anymore.
Being dead wasn't pleasant.
It never is a pleasant experience. But in this incident, in your death, here you stand. Here you act. Here you think. I wonder where Banks will go from here. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another session of San Francisco by Night, Hunter the Vigil. I will see you